Hello Unity and welcome back. Sure hope you guys are ready for this one because this is probably going to be the most important one for all of you to learn. Positioning. Positioning, probably the most important aspect of any sort of life-based search and destroy game out there. Even beyond search and destroy. Payload, capture the flag, capture the point, whatever. It's important. Your life is important. Because the more every single player on the team is on the same idea of how to keep their life, that's how you make your team exponentially stronger. Way stronger. Way stronger is keeping your life. I've reinforced this many times in scrims, that you need your life, you need to play safe, and push-ups should only be done with another person, or if you have ground in mind, timings in mind, you have to have more stuff in mind. So, first thing I want to get out of the way, how to peek safe without getting your head chopped off instantly by 3 people peeking you. I'm on the Shack version this time. I also have the Shack version of Manor. I'll go look at that later, show you how I position on that, because the Shack version is way different than PC. But I'll get into it. Radio. 2 radio players we have on the team, usually 𝕻𝖘𝖘𝖔𝖓𝖏 or 𝕻𝖊𝖘𝖘𝖔𝖓𝖏. They play it well. There's a reason they're in that position. Why? Because they play their peak safe. This spot, you need to live here, alright? Part of positioning is knowing the power spots on the map, knowing post plants, knowing how hard post plants are. For example, A site is one of the hardest spots to retake without many different types of util. You're going to need clips, nades, flashes, and smokes if you want to retake this site. That's why this is one of those sites you kind of give the enemy. Think of Reach Sky B site. Enemy, you're going to run onto it, nothing you can do. They're going to throw nades into here. They're going to focus multiple nades in here. They can throw nades from A, and they can throw nades from long. I believe 𝕻𝖊𝖘𝖘𝖔𝖓𝖏 and 𝕻𝖘𝖘𝖘𝖏 don't suffer many problems because they play from back here, which is perfectly fine. This is a really good angle because they can play stuff like aiming there, or if they get close, play with the G3, you get a bunch of kills. You also have multiple different crossfires to set up, but that's not what I'm talking about today. I already talked about crossfires. Today it's going to be positioning. So we're not going to focus on CT side. We're going to focus on T side logic as well. Now what I mean by logic, when I say the word logic, I mean thinking process and the logistics literally behind what you're going to do. It's kind of how code works. Code runs based on lines. Your positioning logic is going to be the same thing. And depending on how fast you compute, depending on how smart you compute, that's what separates top players. Bad players are always going to do the same thing with the same experiences, with the same intentions. They'll be used to throwing no smoke grenade, they'll be used to getting peeked from the same angle, and they'll be used to dying in the same spots. That's what makes it a bad player. What makes a good and adaptive player, someone like me. What would my thought process be pushing through long? First thing I do, I'll start from even the beginning. Because right now, we have a huge problem on getting up. Just getting up into our base positions. Because people play super aggressively on Shack. First order of business, I sprint peek the first contact corner. And I don't over sprint peek. A lot of people do that. They're going to wait for someone to peek. Stop waiting for someone to peek. Just do an early clear. Usually I'll be slow walking up here, which gives them timing to push here. First thing I do, clear. Slow walk up. Pretend I slow walk all this way. I don't stay peeked on this wall if I'm going solo. If I have teammates with me, we'll be walking here. That way if they peek, free kill. I don't really need to check here because that would be our A players will be watching that. So this is my only focus. I check lockers because people do like to rat up here. Always expect everyone in a rat corner. Check this off angle here. Run up. I sprint peek close here. This is very important. This is what I see a lot of our players making mistakes doing, especially you, KJ, is you don't sprint peek the first angles first. People love to play right here. They love to play here. I know 𝕻𝖘𝖘𝖔𝖓 loved to play here. He's the reason that I'm scared of it. People love to play here because they get close angles on both there and there. Good position. If you play a guy radio too, radio's going to be protecting you from here, and you're going to get away with playing this spot. That's good positioning right there. How do you counter good positioning? Util. Well, let's say you don't have any util and it's a slow play. So obviously, first thing I do is I'll sprint peek this one a couple times. Because the reason I sprint peek this a couple times and not that one, this is where someone's going to actually be very likely to play. I sprint peek depending on how likely someone is to play. People push up long, not so much on Shack. Even on PC, not so much. I sprint peek it once, and then all you need to do is slow walk. It's keeping your life that is the important part. Right now, most of our players, they're sort of not at that high level of gaming where they worry about, you gotta worry about how you get from point A to point B. That's really important. Because again, someone flash pushes you, you lose your life. We're doing a 2-on-2 split or even a full push. That's one life gone. You have to value your life to the fullest every single time you try to push something. So again, that's my thought process. Now, don't just copy me on this, alright? Apply yourself. Apply my tactics to every single spot on every single part of every single map. Especially when pushing. Now finally, when I get to here, I think about every spot, every single possible combination, but I don't think about those spots. Usually most players on our team, they're going to think about the spots. You got to think about the best way to handle them in the best possible manner. Alright? Most common smoke, obviously, it's going to be radio smoke, and it's going to be a smoke on CT. We'll just pretend there's a CT smoke. Usually run across here, clear here. You could have an A player run into cubby, usually clear that. I'm just gonna pretend I'm going alone here. And then first thing I do, I always clear this. This corner, people love to sit in there, and especially with the G3 now on CT side, people can sit in there even better. And I might run into this corner here, because if we have a smoke down and I'm in this corner, this protects so many different parts of the map. Cubby player, if he's getting pressured, he's covered. Radio player runs out. I can cover that. Usually I'll be in the smoke, but they will usually not check this. They'll when they're worrying about post plant, radio player's first instinct is I gotta suppress main, I gotta watch long, and then I gotta clear this corner. I've already talked about this corner before and how I sit here crouched so my gun doesn't show. This is the type of positioning I'm talking about. Good positioning. There's other ways. When we push A, I notice a lot of players get to Thief. I really like when players get to this position. Because not only would you might have a crossfire with me, you have a crossfire with your A long players, and you're in a really unpredictable spot. When we're retaking also, make sure this box is full pen. Yeah. Just shoot through this box, make sure no one's crouching Thief as well. And they can't always be crouching Thief as well. They can be just along this wall. They can be in this corner even. Anywhere. Of course, that's a bad positioning. Don't go there because you're leaving 50-50. Another thing I wanted to talk about is 50-50 peaks. This is a 50-50 peak. If you're attacking it, somebody's on it. 1, 2. Please, for the love of everything, when you peek a 50-50, you stay on one angle. Alright? And to push up on them, always watch the angle closest to you. Because if they're walking along that side of the wall, you're neoing around them. Now again, it's always luck, and you never forcefully want to put yourself in a 50-50. This is a retake position. You're forced to do it. That's what teammates are for. One right, one left. And if you're in a 50-50 position, you have the advantage. You could just be super annoying. Sprint peek from here, blind fire, run back, peek. You have so many different options here. Are these tenable? Those are not tenable. You want to play a random head peek? Go ahead. You want to hold a pixel peek, head peek on CT? Do that. That's great positioning. So these offer the one behind them an advantage, and the one not behind them the disadvantage. That's one thing Chill Step really taught me well. 50-50 peaks. Always worry about them. Other positioning too. It's really hard to talk about specific spots. I'm trying to not teach you specific spots. I'm trying to teach you the logic behind them. I'll tell you how I push A main. I'll give you a second. Just think beforehand what you would do when pushing A. Just think for a second to yourself. From spawn to here, what would you do? You have a lot of things to watch. A lot of places to go. Here's how I do it. I'm coming from A. First thing I do, you'll always see me do this. Flash A main. Make sure no one's along this wall. People love to slow walk up this wall, play close right here. I don't see it happen in Shack a lot, but I see it happens a lot. When you're pushing A long, you're going to have another A teammate with you. Clear that corner always. Then you walk up here. And anytime, if you are coming from drop, even if you're certain there's nobody here, check this corner. I don't know how many times I've saved a teammate's life or saved my own life just by checking this corner. Same thing when coming from A. Never walk along this wall when peeking here. That's just a horrible idea in a million different ways. Not only are you peeking headshot, but then this guy's gonna hear you slow walking. Slow walk along here, peek the wide angle, you see this guy first. And again, normal peeking logic. If you know anything about peeking logic, if you peek closer to a wall, you show yourself earlier than if you peek further away. Because your shoulder is going to show, and it's going to show bigger, and it's going to show closer. If you peek from further away, you have the advantage. You can also do things like this. Logic like that, but that's more so for aim, or... I guess this is a peek tutorial, so... right now I have positioning, and I'll do peaks in the next map, but this is mainly just positioning. We're going to B site now. B site's important. This map is very CT sided, or it could be it's arguable. If the best CT team faces the best T side team, best CT team technically should win with their crossfires. Because not everything's perfect. Alright. Good positioning here. What I do, if I'm playing headshot, I never peek headshot, and I never peek it close. A lot of people, they love to do this. This is the easiest way to get shot at from 3 different positions at once. I remember seeing 𝕰𝖙𝖘𝖘𝖔𝖓 do this once. They had some guy swing right here, and he thought someone was going to swing alone, and I watched as we accidentally triple swung him all at once. I play from back here, because not only do I have the head peek as cover, but my main goal is to make sure they don't run up to headshot. That's the goal of playing headshot. Headshot is not to kill cross. Because if you are ever killing cross, any good team is going to call headshot as exposed, and you're fried. Your goal is to sit back here. If they push up, either first thing I do, nade con, this con nade, I mean, everybody knows that. Everyone already knows I do that. We nuked 𝕰𝖙𝖘𝖘𝖔𝖓 once. I got that 3K there. I like to play back here. Or I could also do this. If you want to play headshot, don't play it wide. Play on the cross. Another thing is your positions. I will tell you this right now. This is going to be the way to cheat kills in the game so easy, is to watch the running cross. So many times do we peek early and we take the engagement one-on-one like this. Every single time. I've seen this in VODs so many times, and I haven't really been able to crack down on it. Hold the cross angle. Also, get used to doing half crouches, by the way, on stuff like this. Not many people know that if you just half crouch your body on an angle like this, you don't have to full crouch and turn it into it. You could still turn it into a head peek like this. So watching the cross, this is so much more beneficial. Why? That's pretty obvious. If you're playing first contact here, people, first off, they're going to sprint peek it. Every Shaq player is paranoid, and they're going to spot you out immediately. Even if they don't, no player is really going to be running across this early. They're always going to play for info. You're used to playing against stupid players who do stupid things, who run across stupid stuff. You play right here. What are they going to be doing? They're going to be making the 50-yard dash across here. I don't know if I have any clips, but there's so many times where I've played right here, and I have seen people crossing by. Easily. There are so many different crosses on every map that you can hold. Again, right here, this lower area, these lower crosses are going to be your best friend. You're going to want to use them a lot. Because again, the enemy, they're not really going to be peeking this. They're going to be running across it. And still, don't hold it like this, because people still do. They will peek into here commonly, maybe sometimes not. Hold something like this, because you're keeping yourself only pretty much shoulder visible when they're crossing that. Maybe peek it a bit more wide like this. And another thing you do, you can move in real life if you want to change your angle a little bit instead of using your joystick to like move around. That's what I do. I get myself positioned and I'll do like this. Move myself around a bit. By the way, another thing, when you're holding your pixels, see this? The wall is covering it. You're not covered here. Your shoulder is still showing. If they sprint peek that, you're still dead. You have to hold an angle about this far away to where your shoulder isn't showing. You don't want to go, oh, okay, the wall's right here, so I'll cover it up like that much. Your shoulder will still show. You have to leave a little bit of space. And then you can kill a cross like that. A bunch of other crosses too. This cross is really important. Think to yourself why it's important, because that's where the best plant spots are. If you force them to plant on that wall, this is the best possible spot to get them to plant. Because you are covered, pretty sure the bomb plant is right here, but you can clip that while being covered from main. Now, if they plant it right here, then it becomes a problem because now they can sit back in main, they can sit back in upper, and hold your ramp cross. Now, when attacking B site, I have no idea what goes on in lower. I would love to be pushing lower with y'all. And make sure that you're wary of all those close little corners. I run up start of the round to make sure that they don't get into this cubby, for example. I think our biggest problem might be paranoia. They should never be able to get here, all right? They should never be able to get anywhere up as long as I run early. Right now, our biggest problem seems to be this guy and this guy right here, the people playing here. Because this is the easiest 5-round spray burst ever. So, usually, I call you guys to flash it, and I really hope that the flashbangs are going towards here. One flashbang should always... I'm not really good at until on this headset, but it's better. First off, you can smoke off that. I will usually smoke. I'll throw my smoke right here. So if someone smokes right there and there, perfect. Now all your goal is to get over here. Util bomb. Maybe don't throw that smoke. Actually, that's kind of bad. But util bomb ramp. Always have someone to flash for ramp. You should always be flashing for ramp if you're pushing the solo. I'm speaking more for solo pushing and matchmaking, positioning like that. So again, first thing I do here. Sprint peek, make sure that no one's standing on top of ramp, peeking the lower. If that happens, call it to that player. If you're an SMM, he's probably not going to help you. No one peeking there. Walk out here. Trusting your upper players are making sure that this guy doesn't swing and trusting the players behind you. You can just cross. You can literally just cross. The players right here, if they don't hear you running, you know what they're going to do? They're going to sprint peek out. They're going to be playing close. They're going to sprint peek out. You're going to be right there, and they're going to have a hard time getting back into sight. Moment you hit slow them, they're dead. So again, you just walk up here, clear all these angles, and usually when you get to about right here, you want to start running. Also, run off this edge so that you're not easy to be headshotted. Just tiny stuff like that you want to think about. Usually you'll have a lot more util, but you plant bomb, and then that's where the post-plant positioning comes after and how to play it after. If you just planted bomb, bomb planter should stay here and he should not move. His goal should be playing something like right here so that people don't get ran up on by those guys when they're trying to retreat. It's just playing for protection pretty much. And now when you're right here, you got it. This is a 50-50. As I said before, you are in the advantage. What is this ramp guy going to do? Here, he's going to start panicking. He has nothing really he can go off of. His only option is to do this and play for flick up. And if I ever catch anybody do this and go for flick up here, you're dead to me. Just do this. You have a faster reaction time with your gun already up than going for that. That's just more inconsistent. And you gotta trust that your players back here. If this guy's going around here, hope that your lower players are watching you. If not, well then that's our fault, and we're probably gonna have to specifically communicate that. But that's your position that you're playing. Do not ever do this and peek over and try to kill ramp. Unless you're trying to be a hero. I hate when my teammates try to be heroes. Never do that. Positioning it's basic math. It's really simple, and you don't gotta overcomplicate it. Main pointers is always keep your life, make yourself difficult. If all 5 of our players do that, if they make themselves difficult to kill, if every single player is doing like shoulder sprint peeks. By the way, another thing, everyone like is sprint peeking for info. You don't always have to do that. If you do these fast shoulder peeks, you're just baiting yourself. And that can be super good. Because if some guys aren't peeking, that guy isn't peeking, this guy's constantly peeking, you're playing as a bait for that guy. You're positioning yourself in a way that you are not even, you're anticipating the gunfight, but you're not actually going to take it. That's the good kind of stuff you want to be practicing. The good kind of stuff you want to be coordinating. And it's hard to learn that stuff when you're playing things like SMM, because you don't have teammates to do that. That's why I'm trying to get us to learn this stuff so quickly. What other maps are there in pool? I haven't gone over yet. Really, it's just... Alright. It's just like 4 maps. Alright, now I'm going to go over manner a little bit here and how positioning on this map Probably, I have bots spawned in. Let me fix that. Oh. Now I'm going to go over Manor. This map is extremely positioning based, just like 𝕻𝖃𝖘𝖔𝖓. 𝕻𝖃𝖃𝖃, I couldn't really... It's a bit smaller, and it's a bit more single position focused. This map is more open. This is going to be a bit better on positioning. Now, A site, we have one player playing here, usually Donkey, and he does a great job playing it. If you're not double stacking with your garden player, which, again, I can't reinforce this enough, please talk to your players and coordinate double swings every couple of rounds. That's really just what we need to beat these teams, is we need to start conditioning them more. Donkey plays back here. This should be the default spot. You play back here. Sprint peek here. If they start running out of obby and they start booking it along here, keep that covered. That is a funnel right there. Now, obviously, don't full spray that. Burst it. Burst it and then hold the cross, as I was talking about earlier. That's how I always play my peaks. Initial peek. They run out, and then I play cross peek. If they're running across here, again, this is like the easiest flash in the open spot ever. Sprint peek, flash. Free kills. Basic positioning, pretty much. Now, think about other spots you can play. There's one spot Scuba used to teach me how to play, is on PC there used to be a pixel here you could play. There used to be pixels on these walls. You can't really play the pixels, but can you play this like... No, this angle's wrong. That angle's really wrong. Okay, yeah, this map is built a bit incorrectly, but you can still play this. It's playing this pixel right here. And I really mean playing the pixel. Learn pixel peaks like this. Just shooting through this. Make it close, and then running off, and then playing off of the flashbangs here, or going back to headstone, or graveyard, whatever this is called. Off angles and stuff like that. Greatest thing about positioning is that you can reposition. That's what I noticed not a lot of people do. Flash repositioning is probably one of the most important things that you can do in this game, especially when you're in a tight spot. And it's a really good way to get out of 50-50s. Let me see if I can find a 50-50 on this map. I don't think there are many. Oh, B site. Perfect buy. That's actually like... That's kind of like a three-way split because in the middle, but... Over on this site, flash repositioning can save your life. This is also technically a 50-50, but it's a bit wider. Wider 50-50s are not much of a problem because people can't... This right here, this is also... This is definitely a 50-50. If you play around these right, you can play them really well. But what I mean about flash repositioning is somewhere like here. Let's say you got a guy back grotto, and you want to pretend that you're, like, aggressing him, pretty much. That's what I do. If I have a guy back there, I'm going to flash him and immediately back off into, like, right here. This dude's going to be focused on right here. It's just going to be a simple outplay. It's getting myself out of here. If he still thinks I'm here, walking in the open, let's say it's a 1v1. If I'm walking in the open, obviously that's going to be a bad play. But if I flash them first, give myself 1 or 2 seconds, and then start slowly sneaking away, he's still paranoid about me being right there. Now I'm back here, and look what I have. Back to perfect positioning. That's what I'm trying to get into your brain. Now, you have a cross, you have a head peek, unwinnable by him unless he hits a crazy shot. You are simply at advantage. And crazy shots happen. You will get hit by them. You will lose clutches to them. People do it all the time. We do it all the time. But worry about the best possible spot. Now, assuming it's a pistol round, he doesn't have clips, you might want to just play this, but... Or you might just want to play this and play bomb. If he does have clips, though, you're in a good spot to cover that cross. Better yet, you could be all the way back here. If he's peeking from there, his body, the pixel on the headshot for him is going to be him wide all the way out to here. Another super important thing, knowing what people's like peaks and how exposed they are going to be when they're peeking into something else. That's another really strong thing about repositioning. So, let's say you're on defense. and you're playing alleyway. If you guy right here close, you're shooting at him, you're wall banging him a bit. You can flash, bank it off the wall. That's gonna hit him. That's a guaranteed flashbang. And you don't have to run down alley. You can do this, and then you just do this. That guy's still there. You kill him. And if he's not there, push up, you take map control, then you get super aggressive. Because that guy's biggest worry, he's calling out to his teammates, maybe rotate off B, maybe B went bad for them, maybe they don't want to fight you because you know that he's there. You do this, you push up, take more ground, take more space, you get table room, clear the rest of this, and then you call to your teammates, B site clear, and then you have your entire team rotate A. Now you have 5 people on A, and you still have people running through there because CTs get a faster rotate time. That's just logic. And that's tough logic. That's hard logic that very few players know how to call correctly. People who have had to have been playing for a very long time. I really think only Neuro and Yellow Hat would really call that, and Sheer. And on our team, nobody but me. So, bit disadvantaged. We don't really have that kind of calling power. That kind of map control. You hear me lots of times saying, go full rotate, go full rotate. That means I'm fully confident in my clear. On Manor, I do those clears a lot. I play Garden. You want to know what I do every round? When we were VOD reviewing against 𝕊𝖘𝖘𝖔𝖓, all I did was smoke, flash, push up, and then start slow walking. I would get into here. If I heard footsteps, I call for full rotate. If they're lurking behind, well, I still have a flash, and they're probably dead, and then I just start running down the stairs. Usually, flanking through an enemy spawn is probably the worst decision you can do, but on a map like Manor, very beneficial. So much map control on this map you can have. Now, close range positions like table, room, and Manor are a bit more tricky. I really don't like pulling flashbangs out and pre-flashing here because I swear every time I pull out the flash, the dude peeks me. But sometimes it's better to take the 100% guaranteed kill rather than just running up for the 50-50 trade. Because 𝕻𝖃's netcode is tough. You cannot outgun somebody ever. These people are flick up demons. Which also is our biggest problem is we're getting traded out a bunch. It's just hard to get killing advantage in this game. Trades are way more likely on 𝕻𝖃 to happen than PC. On PC, it was crazy how much more gun skill you could have than other people. CQB positions, like taking Manor, for example. This is stuff you never want to do alone, and I see heroes like Explosion try to do that, for example. Try to take Manor alone. A lot of time I would pick him, because back then I would be playing mid against 𝕻𝖃𝖚. They'll do stupid stuff like that. We do stupid stuff like that. Bad positioning. Again, it's point A to point B. That's what you want to focus on. Sprint peek the first angle, sprint peek the common peek angle a couple times, slowly take ground. That's what you want to do. I learned a lot from Determined Fear and Gears, who both were Breachers players, who would do the same thing, but in Breachers, it is really hard to take space. Incredibly hard to take space. It is not like Pavlov. Crossing one angle is usually a death sentence, because bomb plants directly on a site with a couple of small doorways, and Breachers has no recoil. Imagine that. But they get really clever with it. They'll do things like, they'll throw a nade, maybe headshot, for example. Throw a nade close right there, behind this wall. I don't know, 𝕻𝖆𝖏 did that once and almost nuked me, but then he nuked an enemy. Saved my life. Usually, you wouldn't want a nade close right there. You want to flash close, smoke, have a smoke there. And then push up with the nade right here. Get used to throwing nades around corners, by the way. I don't see many people do that. I do that a lot. Usually, if you sprint peek and throw the nade, it's the best way to do it, because obviously you don't want to stand in the open. But playing off your util and pushing up it's just a habit you really got to get into. Obviously, it should go without saying it's the best way to take space. But that's what 𝕊𝖃 are doing a lot. Some of these players like Jackson don't even know what they're doing when they do it. They've just gotten used to throwing flash and pushing off of it, and it's good habits. It does work. That's why I need everyone on our team to start doing it, because 𝕊𝖃𝖚𝖚𝐷s, they don't use util that much. That's why we usually beat them. But 𝕊𝖃 have been doing really heavy util slams. I want to get 𝕊𝖃 to be forced into putting lurks and putting map control, because then they're easier to take care of. Right now, they're full slams. They have good reaction time, good aim. It's pretty hard to take care of right now. With good practice, we can definitely take care of it. But if we don't get better positioning, if we don't stop giving our life away, that's going to be the problem. Bad way to play this, do something like this. I've seen our teammates many times before try to gun challenge that. Running in the open. Peeking this, that's bad. That's being an SMM player. Good player who's playing comp games like a comp game. Again, comp game is different. A lot of y'all aren't in that mindset that you're playing competitively. You got to be in that mindset. Your life is important. Run along this wall. Stay hidden. Sprint peek. Run up along the wall. Peek out wide. Peek out wide. The only thing an SMM player does different, or correctly, they do this. Good player runs along his walls and he peeks close. Keeps his gun up on long range angles. If you play flick up for long range angle, I don't know what you're doing with your life. You needed to find out something different, because that's not going to work. Clearing all of these corners. If you ever get up a spot like this, again, logic. Most people would think you get up here, you start walking along here. Honestly, you can just ignore this part of the map and then start clearing out these spots, walking along all alley. If you get along all alley, I do this all the time, by the way, and it works super well. Usually I'm somewhere else on the map, so I don't really get to do this much in matches to show you, but free kill, rotating through CT. Probably shouldn't have peeked that. If I got the kill right here, I would do this. I would flash, and then I would go back here, and then crouch peek on this head peek. Now you have the map under control. They try to cross through here, they're probably going to be paranoid you're somewhere up on tits or back in their spawn. You also have control of behind you. Now, this is a really risky spot. The reason you want to play this spot is because you're giving all your B players time to push onto the site, and you're stalling time. Again, you do something like this, you bait out those players, start peeking at this guy, maybe you catch him running in the open, position yourself like that. Suicide positioning, another thing. Suicide positioning is not something I'd really recommend anybody attempt doing, because I learned that after 1,000 hours on 𝕻𝖊, how to do that, because for 𝕻𝖊, that game's just psychology. You want to learn how to do something like that. Right now, not a lot of us are aware of the bigger picture and constantly aware of what's going on in the map. Ever since I've gotten back into 𝕵𝑉, I've been getting really good at that again. I'd trust other people to do it if they trust themselves, but suicide pushing, it's pretty much just getting yourself into a spot where you hold time on the map, but you're guaranteed someone's going to rotate into you, and it's probably going to be a lot of people. A good example, yard on stockpile. If you're yard on stockpile, you're doing a B push. What are you, behind the boxes, maybe behind forklift? You're on a 50-50. You can get sandwiched from 2 different angles. You're going to get peeked by everybody, but you're stalling time. You're also stalling for info. If you get a trade, then provide info, your value was positive. That's how you want to think about this game, is every round, if all 5 of your players, I like to think of it as like a value chart. You get positive value. Think of it like Clash Royale, like a positive elixir trade. You just get more value on yourself than the enemy. That's how you want every single engagement to be. Now, when I was watching KJ earlier on Stockpile, when he was doing this, pre-firing lower mid, let's say that's like 0.3 value to 2 value. You lose here, you just gave the enemy 2 value compared to losing 2 value for your team. Your value on mid is gone, your value on mid rotate is gone, your value on a player is gone, your value on your leftover util is gone. Don't go losing value. I'll probably start calling out, give value callouts, just so people get more in line to what has positive value. Because, again, when you're newer to games, your goal is kill, 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 that's it. Map control has high value to it. Lurks have high value to it. Baiting yourself has high value to it. You're going to learn the value to that. Like, for example, this play right here, if you get that kill, you're up, like, I'd like to think of value as 10 per team. If you get 10 value, you won the game, pretty much. This gives, like, 3 value for 1 player. Each player should be worth about 2 value. So, I know really hard to explain number stuff like this, but that's how you think about the game. Like how in chess, pieces pieces are worth something. The queen is worth 8, the rook is worth 5, bishops, or I kind of forgot a little bit, but rook's 5, bishop's 3. No, I don't think it's like that. Pawn's 1. But you get what I'm saying. Those pieces have value. And if you take a queen with a pawn, you are up crazy value. Think of it like that. Same thing. Deagle kills an M4. Everybody knows that's positive value. But what about lurking through mid with no kills, no util used, but instead you're now in the enemy spawn? That can possibly be 10 value in itself. This right here can win a game. Let's say you're smashing B. I lurk all the way through. I'm right here. I call the A rotate. Their A player gets killed mid-rotate. I have their spawn. Game 1. High value. That's how you position. Think of your positions as value, pretty much. How valuable they are to you. How you calculate that value, that's up to you. You can always talk to me and I'll tell you how much I think it'd be. How good that spot would be compared to other spots. Because thinking in numbers, it's a lot easier than thinking in just, oh, that good spot, that great spot. Numbers really help visualize the kind of stuff that you need to be doing. And again, I don't want to overcomplicate. Teams that overcomplicate are bad. Teams that simplify and continue to simplify are good. That's why we made those callouts. That's why we have callouts like gold, Pepsi, don't cross the line, stuff like that. Simple. But those simple comms give like value when called. Those are comms, some of the most valuable comms. Like sometimes calling gold or don't cross the line, same thing pretty much. That's a valuable call. That could possibly save us lives, that can save us time, that can save us crossfires. Or Duke. If you say Duke instead of wasting time calling another call out, it's slight things like that. It could be 0.2, 0.3 value. It doesn't change everything in the round, but it changes something. That's how you, again, that's how you think about positioning. Stuff like that. If you want to aggro, you want to take a risk, you gotta know how much value you're risking versus how much value you're getting. Let's say you pushed up A and you want to cross the line. You are risking maybe 2 value. You're risking yourself. You already have plant. You have post plant. Bombs down. Even if you die, it's still in your teammate's advantage. You might be losing 2 value, but then you're gaining 3 value, 4 value, 5 value, 6 if you get here, depending on how many kills you get. You could play something like right here. Or if you're fully confident you took back sight, get to another off angle. Play something like right here. Then you up your value a lot. Again, if we start thinking in this system, obviously, we're not going to make callouts like, we're not going to make value callouts. This is a personal system you want to think about yourself. It's drowning the enemy team out of their 10 value compared to your 10 value. If all of our players are constantly on average 0.5 value above the enemy, on average, that's a winning team. That's why we're better at Harbor. Because on Harbor, even though we don't smash teams, we don't lose it. Because we have consistent average value. Consistent value. We're not going one round where we beat a team 10-2 value. We're not doing crazy outplays like that. Like oil rig crushes where we kill the entire site and slam them. Instead, it's consistency. This is what made me so good at 𝕊. Is this thinking process, because on 𝕊, you have the same guns every round, the same rifles in the same meta with the same players against the same teams. Your goal is to overvalue the other team constantly. Now, I know I haven't been showing much angles, but again, I didn't really want to make a separate video for this, but this is the perfect video to introduce sort of value on and how you want to take it, how you want to think about it. All right. And so enough rambling about that. Now you understand what it's like to think about Pavlov professionally. You want to think about it in that light. If everyone's thinking about it in that light, that's what made teams like PC Wrecked so good. Because they constantly were allocating value to all different spots on the map. They made Tarmac super valuable. Like, as I said, every player has 2 value. Now, if you send 5 players on a single push, each one of those players most likely has 2 value. They're all doing the same thing. Now, if you send 4 players on a push and 1 lurk, that lurk has the possibility of being 3, 4, lot more value depending on what they do. And then these guys all will have 2 value. You're now positive and you're just up above the enemy. Well, technically you don't go to over 10 value, but still. That guy will be more valuable than these players, but then it also makes the enemy team less valuable depending on what they're doing, because this guy is going to be wasting time. He's going to be smart with it. 𝕻𝖊𝖘 had terrible gun skill, yet he's still one of the best parts of the 𝕻𝖘𝖘𝖔𝖓 team. Easily. And the 𝕻𝖊 team too. Even though I know some of my teammates who are watching this who have played 𝕻𝖊 will probably trash on him for being a body shot player. He had good peaks. He had good value. He knew how to play his value. Like how he played mid on 𝕻𝖆𝖏. He played it very valuable. That's the rec thought process, but obviously not as complex as me. That's how I want positioning to be. Now, I'll go over some bad mistakes and stuff that loses you value. Now, running back and forth, sprint peeking constantly. Remember in VOD review on 𝕻𝖊𝖘, when Fishtory was doing this, back and forth on headshot, he got himself spotted out, and he died, because we knew he was there. Donkey, I know you were doing this once on streets. You were playing Van. You were just sprint peeking left, right. I heard you. I didn't peek you because I knew how to make myself more valuable. That thinking process is how you want to play the game. All I knew is that you were going to stay there, and then I could have flanked through 𝐴CON and taken you out. Millions of different spots, millions of different maps. Maybe not a million different maps, but again, 8 maps. Other than the 2 Dave maps, what other maps are there? No CSGO maps. Oil rig. Oil rig is a map that's a lot like Harbor. You just want to have better, higher value overall. Of course, you're more likely to hit crush slams. Same with Harbor. You can crush slam A site, but you want to slowly find the value. You want to move players around. That's how you want to position yourself. You want to position yourself that makes it the most annoying way for people to deal with you. If you go alone on site and you get a kill, you're sitting here with still 2 value. You're just valuable. Now, if the rest of your team is with you, you have a guy playing vent with you, not peeking, watching your run up. You guys are now worth like 3 value together. You're now more valuable. It's simple. It is super simple. And what mind blocks most people in this game, this is really important to focus on, so I want you to really listen to this, is thinking that you need crazy, like, aim or crazy thought processes to make yourself a better player, that you're focusing on the wrong things. You are focusing on the wrong things by focusing on that. You want to focus on the basics, because any day you can make yourself a better player. Any day you can tell yourself, I want a better mental. Any day you can tell yourself, I want to play slower. Any day. Aim is different. Aim, you have to grind that. It's a journey. Game sense is different. You see players like Boris. Boris probably has the highest aim to game sense deficit that I have seen in all of VR. Boris knows how to play rotates. He knows how to play bomb. He knows how to play post plant. He knows everything. He can't hit a shot. Same with 𝕻𝖊𝖘. 𝕻𝖊𝖘 had a bit better aim, but he still made up for it with his value. Constantly lurking and giving himself different bits of value, and when he'd do pushes, he'd keep his teammates covered. He would focus on all of that. So again, you can be the change any day you want. This team, Unity, can pass Rect and be 10-5ing them if we all adapt this mental and we perfect it. Perfecting it's going to take a long time, but by LAN, I really hope that we can get to a level that is crushing every single team. Because right now, I know everyone's not probably in the best hopes of beating Rect. We did get 10-9, 10-9, 10-8. We lost all 3 maps. We did have crashes, but still, that doesn't mean we can't slam them. We can't find maps to slam them on. We adopt this mental, and we improve our peaks. We constantly practice, and we constantly VOD review. Again, I would really like to, I did already show sort of how to do the peaks. I would like to show more, but I think it's, I'm using the word a lot, I think it's more valuable to show you the thought process behind how you get to those peaks, how you're constantly doing that stuff. Now, I'm gonna reinforce it one more time. Let me just show you how to play life. Sprint peek once. Run out, you're clear. Down to the head peek. Adapt to unique peaks. Stuff like this. Invent stuff. Go offline, find your own stuff. You don't even have to go offline to find stuff like that. Go offline and just practice stuff like this. Oh, hi there. I forgot I had bots on. It's real simple stuff. you don't have to overcomplicate. You want to simplify as much as you can. Because the best teams, Neuro said this, he said 𝕻𝖃 is going to be the best team because they have the best players. The best gun skill players. The best team is going to have the best strats, the best oversimplifying, and the best teamwork. We have pretty good firepower compared to 𝕻𝖃. They all have 5 good gun skill players. At our best roster, we may not have the best gun skill, but still, if we simplify ourselves and we're not running in the open, we can still, even without the gun skill, be majorly more powerful. Like 𝕻𝖛𝑑𝑎𝑔𝖔𝖏, for example, have a ton of flick-up kings, aim kings. Yet, they lost to us, what, 30-19? We, on average, beat them because we were smarter. Did we have better gun skill? No. We had people like 𝕻𝖏𝑑 playing. 𝕻𝖏𝑑 was missing headshots all game. We still outplayed them. Easily. With 𝕻𝖃, same thing. We were still close to 𝕻𝖃. Even, I was on Quest 2 as well. I wasn't even playing at my best. But now that we're getting better, I don't think 𝕻𝖃 is getting any better. I don't really think that they're inventing new strats nowhere near as far as us. I really hope this helps motivate you guys to play a lot better and a lot smarter. I want this to change your mindset. And again, unlike last video, the word's not cookie. I'll just make it send me a cat emoji in DM so I know you watched the entire video. Because last video uploaded, I had a code word in it, and people said they watched it, and only a few people actually DM'd me the code word for that one. So good job, guys. I'm not as stupid as you think. Don't just say stuff to me like that. Like, oh, I watched the video. These videos are important. I'm giving the best information possible. And if you have questions, please give me questions after. If you want to study, watch this video over and over. Because watching a video once, that's not really going to get it in you. And I don't mean watch this video once and then 2 seconds later watch it again. Wait a couple weeks, watch it again, and then you'll realize how much either you've improved, how much you've changed yourself, and what your weaknesses still are. I would go back to Vision's championship VODs constantly. I would constantly find new things, new reasons. I would understand his thought process more. I would understand his mental more, and that would make me understand my mental more and my thought process better. The first time I watched those championship VODs, I was like, wow, he's really good. I'm like, how does he control recoil pattern? Why is he pulling his gun down like that? Because I freehanded back then. I didn't know what C-stacking was. What are these comms? These comms, oh, they're good. But then 2 years later, I'm like, those comms, they're perfect. They're great. There's also weaknesses in them. His recoil control, it's great. He has an amazing technique. I focus on that technique. His aim, crosshair placement, everything else. Watching stuff over helps with that. My aim tutorials, watch those over. I have an aim tutorial up. If you've watched it once, good. Watch it again. Chillstep's championship VODs. Watch stuff from him. You can learn stuff from Chillstep that Vision doesn't do. No top player has every single skill of the next player below him. Each player has something unique to them. Something that changes them up. Alright, I'm kind of just blabbering about nothing now, so again, please DM me cat emoji if you finish this, so I know who watched these videos and I know who to practice this stuff with, and I also know who I'm playing on main roster. Thank you very much! Until the next video, which I will teach you how to aim better.